welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about another important functions in the DAX world. So those are time intelligence functions. So we do a lot of analysis in data analysis with time, right? Time and day. So it's very important that you should have a lot of flexibility to write the code and achieve your business case, right? So, if you go back to the 5 years, if you go back to the world versions, we spend a lot of time to prepare the our data using the date and time. So where we, write the stored procedures, write the functions in SQL to fetch the desired data. But now in the DAX, so most of our business use cases get resolved by using these time intelligence functions. At least to me, I never write any customized time functions or date functions, but I used a lot of time intelligence functions and date time functions to fulfill my business requirement. So now coming to the point, so we have totally 35 time intelligence functions are available in the DAX, where you can fetch the data in different way, where the business like to have their data in the report. And these functions are like basically they work on the time periods like days, months, quarters and years. So based on those periods, you can use this time intelligence. The minimum requirement for to use this time intelligence function is the table, whatever the dimension table or fact table, should have at least a date column in that particular table. That is a minimum criteria. Now, so what I did here, I just grouped those 35 functions into 7 groups. So where each group will, what are the functions that we define in the each group, those functions will be performed similar behavior to the other functions. So that's the reason I just grouped them into one place. Now coming to uh, my other video, so if you one step go back, so in the class 15 we covered purely only on the date and time functions, where we don't have intelligence available to those date and function time functions. So those are standard date and time functions. It's a pretty much we covered 27 date and time functions in this video. If anyone interested, please go through the date and time functions. Not only this, we have other lot of videos related to DAX functions covered in other videos, so you can go through there and have a look and see those scenarios, and videos will help you to solve your business problem. Now coming to the our intelligence functions, time intelligence functions. So first we'll go group by group. So first we go and talk about the group 1 functions, which are the opening and closing balance functions. So we have totally 6 functions are available in this group, and let's get into the details of each function with example. Right, so opening and closing balance functions are very handy functions, where you can fetch the what is my closing balance and what is my open balance for with respect to the month and with respect to the quarter and year. So these 6 functions usually we use in finance, where you can what is the, it's like accounts, right? Whenever you want to see such accounts, what is the open balance for that month and what is open balance for the quarter or year. So, or you can fetch the closing balances and for the month and quarter and year. So wherever you have such scenarios, you can use these functions and bring the data. So the syntax for these functions are similar: opening and close, closing balances, a month and quarter and year. When it comes to the year, you will have extra filter called year and date, because some companies follow their business cycle is start with January and with December, but some companies their cycle will be the different. Their physical period will be like they start accounts clean up from 1st of April to the next year March of the end of the March. So that's how they maintain the physical year. And but some companies, as I mentioned, they will follow the calendar year. So that's the reason for year level you can define this year and date parameter by mentioning that your physical business period dates. Okay, when your period start and when your business period ends for that particular year. So that's how this parameter works. And then apart from that year end parameter, so the remaining 3 parameters are common for all the 6 function. So first it will take the expression. Expression is nothing but your measure, whatever the measure that you're going to use it in this these 6 function, that is the expression. And date is it must be the coming from the date, time dimension date, that is the parameter. And filter is nothing but you can apply the specific filters on top of your where you're calculating this opening balance for the particular measure. Let's say you have a sales amount and you want to take the opening balance for a particular product like bikes alone. You want to take the opening balance or closing balance for the bikes. So those scenarios use the filter to filter out the data. I have prepared some examples. I'll go through it. So that's about understanding the syntax of these 6 functions. And then let's move on to with examples. So here are some examples I prepared. Don't worry, I will post these examples, whatever the examples that I used, right? Whatever the queries, DAX queries I used during the video, I'll post it in the comment section so that you can use these queries to convert these queries to your business cases. Let's get into the details. So what I'll do, I'll open one more window. So just to show the results. Here you go, window open, new window. So what I'll do, I'll keep this window side to the first window so that you can see the results in parallel. So this is our original query. What I'll do, I will copy this query to the right side. Okay, so here I'm not using any open or closing function. So here we're trying to get only the the data just for the specified filter. But here we're going to fetch some data with examples. Where here I'm using the opening balance month and again opening balance month for the product, where product color is red, and the similarly closing month balance, and then same thing for the closing balance month where my product filter is red. So all these 4 functions, I use the internet sales amount where I'm trying to fetch it. So what is my closing balance and opening balance for the December month 2012? That is my, I want to know that. So now if I execute this query, what will happen? Let's see what is my opening balance and what is my closing balance. What happened? Right. There is a parsing issue. What happened? The connection timeout or connection issue. Sorry. Yeah. Let me execute again so that it will connect. Don't worry. Right. So now you can see here, it fetches the date level information of my internet sales, and parallelly, it fetches the what is my opening balance and closing balance at grand total level as well as at product color red. So that's the filter we applied, right? Wherever my product color is red, so those scenarios, the opening balance and closing balance also it fetched. Now let's see on the right side, you can see here, this is my red internet sales, red product color internet sales. So now if you look at here, so I'm trying to fetch the data for December 2012. Now, what is my opening balance for December 2012? It means it will take the reference of the previous month. So the November 30th, that will be your, opening balance. That's the balance, at month level, that's the closing balance for the November, right? So the closing balance for the November will be open balance for the December, right? Similarly, the closing balance is nothing but whatever the balance, the last day balance that we have for the December, that will be your closing balance. So I hope it's clear what is opening balance and what is closing balance. Now coming to here, you can see, first look at the opening balance. So opening balance is showing 3131.96 and closing balance is 43425. Now here on the right side, you see, I just fetch what is my 31st December value, internet sales value, which is my closing balance, which is a 4342573. And similarly, I also fetch the what is my opening balance, which is nothing but closing balance of the November. Now you can see here 98412, that is the product level filter. Okay, right. So that's I think what I did here. Okay, here I think sorry, here headers are placed wrongly. That's the reason it created a bit confusion. Let me do it this way so that it will be clear. I think closing balance, we don't have a problem. Yeah, so let me re-execute this and we'll not have any confusion. Right. So now you can see it's pretty much clear. So for red products, the closing internet sales amount you can see, which is the opening balance is 313 and closing balance is 139. Whereas for overall products for December month, the opening balance is 9841 and the closing balance is 4345. So that's how you fetch the data of the any specific measure and their respective closing and opening balance at month level. Similar case for the quarter. So now moving on to the quarter. Now let me copy this statement along to the right side. We need to see the difference, right? So now I'm copying this query along to the right side. And now I'm going to execute the quarter level. I hope here I put the headers correctly. I think, yeah. So here again, I'm using the functions, two functions. One is the opening balance quarter, other one is the closing balance quarter. And also I created the, I'm trying to find the opening balance and closing balance for the my product color equals to red. Now if you look at here, let me execute the right side query so that we'll get the latest results. Now you can see here, overall, irrespective of the product filter, the opening balance is 12726. That's a quarter level. So here I pass the date. Now the date, how it looks, right? So 5th of May, sorry, 25th of May. May is part of the second quarter in your time dimension. Now what it will do, so the opening balance is nothing but previous quarter closing balance. That will be your opening balance for the quarter two. Now you can look at here. So first quarter, um, so the internet sales, that is the last value for that quarter, right? So again, last day for the March. So that will be your closing balance for the Q1. Now that will be your opening balance. That's the reason you can see 12726 is your opening balance for the second quarter. And similarly, you also see the same thing for the red products. 1565 is your opening balance. And coming to the closing balance is always last day of that Q2. So second quarter, right? Whatever the date, the May 31st is the last day of the quarter. So the 31st, whatever the transactions that you have, what I filled here. Uh, Sorry, April, May. Oh, sorry, June. June is the last month for that quarter, right? Q2. Consider that we started our calendar year from January. So Jan, Feb, March is your Q1. April, May, June is your Q2. So June, end of the June will be your closing balance. So that's the balance you see in under here, closing balance and red product closing balance. That's about the closing, opening and closing balance functions at quarter level. Now moving on, year level. So let me copy this statement on the right side so that we can see the year level values executed. So now same thing we'll do here. Uh, Execute. Now you can see here again the same thing. Opening is nothing but your previous year last day. Last day value will be your opening balance for the current year, and closing balance will be last day of the current year, right? So that's how it fetched. Now you can see here same numbers. You can see here. Here I passed the 31st 2011. That is my previous previous year last day, and current year last day I passed it, and I fetched only those two dates information because that's the our open and closing balance, right? So to show that I filter out. Now you can see here it's working in expected way. That's about opening balance and closing balance at here. So I mean, here again you will have a one more filter. If at all you want to specify, instead of your fiscal year start from January 1st, you can mention, let's say your year is starting at March. You can mention that when your year end date. So instead of December 31st, you can mention that your year end date is 31st of March on the respective year, so that it will take that as a reference and calculate your opening and balance. So that's about opening and closing balance. We'll move on to the group two. Group two is where we use dates functions, right? And we'll cover those three functions now. Functions are three: date add, dates between, dates in period. Date add function is will help you to add the dates or months or quarter or years to whatever the date that we passed it. So you can see here the syntax of the date add is, first it will take the dates, that is your first parameter. Next one is the number of intervals, whether you want to go back or you want to go forward. So if you want to go back, how many, let's say how many years you want to go back, you can mention it. And if you want to go forward, then you can mention that how many years you want to go forward. That's about this parameter. And the interval is nothing but, so this is the where you need to tell to function that whether you want to go back number of years or number of quarters or number of months or number of days. So that's the interval you need to pass it. And here you can see the example. Here I'm trying to do forward and backward based on the year. So you can see here this is the date that I passed it. So here I'm passing all the dates for the 2012 from January 1st to the till 31st of the December. And there is another column that I created saying that previous year dates. So this is the where I use the DATEADD function. So I pass the date column, that will be current date value will be picked from here based on this filter, and it will go, let's say -1. So that I want to go back, which is 2011 will be my previous year, and I want to go back at year level. That means I want to bring all the year level dates and display under this particular previous year dates column. Similarly, future year dates, I want to go forward 1 year. So that's where it fetch the all the dates from the 2013 from January to 2000 December 31st 2013. And similarly, I can go forward, future plus one, that means 2 years forward. This time it fetched the record set for the 2014 from January to December. Similarly, you can also create this function. Maybe I'll quickly extend this function to month level. So let me write this, and here I'll put it like a month, previous month. I'll pass it to month. Okay, now I'll execute this query, and you can see here. So you can see here previous month, and then yeah, it's iteration, right? So 2011 December. So for whatever the given date, right? So here to January 1st 2012, the previous month date will be December 2011. That's the reason it's showing the this month value. And similarly, it will take the date as iteration for to this function, and also bring the what is your respect to previous month dates, all those information it will bring here. If you go in the end December, so December 31st, so December 31st, the previous month value will be the November 30th, right? So that's how this DATEADD function works. Instead of a month, you can also put the quarter. So whatever the quarter that you want to mention, and fetch the whatever the previous period or forward direction, you can fetch that information. You can pass also day. So the interval is the key. That's where you will pass the four input values: year, quarter, and month, and day. So that's how the DATEADD function works. Moving on, dates between. So dates between function is works like a between clause in the SQL. It will take the start and end date, and bring the populate the list of the dates that mentioned between the start and end date. So that's how it works. And if at all, so passing, I mean, you can also, if you pass is the start date and end date, if you don't pass anything, what it will do, it will take the blank value. So if you don't pass anything, the blank value represents that minimum date from that particular table. And even end date also, if you don't mention anything, it will take the max date for that particular, whatever the column that we mentioned here, right? So that particular column, it will take the min and max dates and pass it as a start and end date. That's how it works. And the syntax of the dates between is the dates and start date and end date, totally 3 parameters. Dates is nothing but whichever the table that you want to, pass it as a date column, that will be your dates, and start and end date, you can define it. Now here is the example how we write the dates between. Here what I did, so I'm taking the internet sales order date, and then I didn't pass any start date. I pass it as a blank. So that's the reason it took the minimum date from the table, and you can see here. So this is the minimum date. That's where the fact table starts, right? So 29th December 2010 will be your minimum date, and max date it will take from the internet sales order date. So that is nothing but your 2014 January 28 will be your last date, last sales value reported for that particular column order date. So that's the reason. But instead of this, if you want to, you want to restrict instead of max and min, you can also define your own dates. Okay, so you can mention like a date. I want to fetch 2012 January 1st and January 1st. Right. So January 1st. And the end date will be just I want to take the 5 days transactions from January 01 and 05. Right. So here if I execute now, you get only the 5 days transaction. So that's how the dates between function works. Right. Moving on, dates and period. So Dates and period is actually, it returns the column, so that whatever the date that we specify here, right? So it takes the whatever the date, the max date, and it also go back to the specified interval. So the syntax you can see here: dates and start date you need to give, and number of intervals you need to give, how many days, how many months, or how many quarters you want to go back. You need to specify that interval, and also the interval level you need to mention, whether it's a year level you want to go back, or whether quarter level or month level or day level you want to fetch the data. So that's how it will take that interval. In this scenario, what I'm doing, I just instead of passing the start date as a hard-coded value, what I did, I took the max date, max order date, and taking that reference as a max order date, I want to go back to the 1 year, which is the -1. So now if I execute this query, then you can see here. mm, okay, so if I go back here, this is my 28th, right? So from here, it's go back to the 1 year, which is the right. Here 28th, and yeah, it's at end of the January, right? So end of the January 28th, and it's go back to the -1. That means 2nd of February 2013. So that's the 1 year transactions it fetched. And now if I pass it like a month instead of a year, and now let's see what will happen. So ideally I'm expecting, so 28 January 2014 is the my max date. So from there, minus 1 month means 1st of January 2014. If I pass it like a day, it will fetch the records for only 28. That's my max date, right? If I say -2 days, then I'll get 27th and 28th transaction. So that's how it will work, right? So max date and the number of intervals you want to go back, and you can mention it not only go back, you can also put it like a forward direction. So if I mention like 1, it will go back to, it will forward to the one day and fetch the data. Since we don't have any records on 29th, it's showing only one record. Even if you put it like forward direction 5 days, then still it will show only one row, because there is no future transactions in our table. So that's how the dates in period is works. So and one other important point is, all these time intelligence functions are actually work like a table. As soon as they return any results, it will work like a table. Okay, so please remember that they are not like, they will bring all the time many values, right? That's the reason it will be converted as a table, calculated table, and display all results in the one column. That's the one key point you need to remember. So that's about the group 2 dates functions. We'll moving on to the group 3. So these functions are pretty much interesting functions, where it will fetch the to date, you know to date information, whatever the month to date, quarter to date, year to date. I think most of you guys already familiar with these to date calculations. So now there are totally 6 to date functions. First 3 will bring the list of the dates, whatever the month to date, quarter to date, year to date, whatever you mention. Based on the date, it take as a reference. From the date, it will display the number of days belongs to the MTD, QTD, and YTD. But other 3 functions, like a total MTD, total QTD, total YTD, they are purely like aggregated functions. So whatever the measure that you give, so it will calculate based on the MTD, QTD, and YTD, and display the sum of the measure value or sum of the expression value. That's how these 6 function works. And let's get into details of these 6 function with examples. Group 3 functions are to date functions. So here is the syntax. So you can see here, first one is the dates MTD. Here it will take the dates as an input, and similarly dates QTD and dates YTD will take the input as a date. That is our first parameter. But when it comes to the YTD, dates YTD, we have a second parameter called year end dates. Again, you need to define your what is the whether your business is follow the calendar year or physical year. So by default, if you don't mention anything under the year end date parameter, it will take it as a 31st December as your year end value. So please remember that. But in case if you don't want to mention that as a year end, December 31st is not your year end date for your business. You can mention whatever the date is suitable based on your company physical year. So now the other 3 functions are like total MTD, total QTD, total YTD. Again, here also it will take 3 parameters. Since these are the aggregated functions, it will take the expression. Expression is nothing but a measure. It can be like anything: sales, or sum of sales, sum of order, or sum of any measure that you can pass it. Dates is nothing but it will take the specified date as a second parameter. Filter is nothing but you can filter out any date. So instead of you, if you don't want you know value for total products, instead of that you want to take only total MTD for the specific product category, you can apply the filter here. So you can apply any filter, how many filters you want, you can apply here and filter out the data and get the to date aggregated value: total MTD, total QTD, total YTD. So YTD alone, you will have extra parameter called year end date. Again, as I mentioned, so you can define your own year end date. So the format how you pass the parameter to the year end date, either you can pass like MMDD, or you can pass it like a short month name and date, or you can pass a date and a month name. So usually it will, the recommended format is, to avoid confusion, you always pass the your month and day, so that it will not have any confusions. So that's how you can pass the year and date parameter. Now let's get into the examples of these 6 functions. The first one is the dates MTD. Here what I'm doing, I pass the December 6 as my current date, and I want to fetch the MTD dates for the sales amount. So now you can see here, since I passed the 6th as the specified value, the MTD values, it will start from the 1st of December. The remaining 5 days transaction and price, including the specified value totally, it fetches the 6 days information of the December and their respective internet sales. That's how MTD dates MTD works. Similarly, you can see here QTD. Here I passed only the December 6th, right? Now what will happen? December 6th is falling under the fourth quarter for that year. So now that's the reason it's fetching the data from 1st of October to till December 6th of 2013. That's how the dates QTD works. Now moving on, dates YTD. So this time it will fetch the data from January 1st, 2013 to December 6th, 2013. So that's the YTD, because the assume that your year starts at January 1st. That's the reason it brought the information from January 1st to till 6th of December for the 2013. That's how dates YTD works. Here is the previously we talked about how to pass the year and date filter, right, parameter, right, some of the dates YTD. Here I defined 31st March is my year end date. So now what will happen? Instead of taking the 1st of Jan to 31st of December as your year, instead of that, it will take your 1st of April to 31st of March as your physical year. I mean, from 1st of April to 31st March, it will consider as a 1 year. If you don't mention anything, it will take it as a 1st of Jan to 31st of December as a year. So that's how it will work. Now you can see here, since I mentioned my year end date is 31st of March, it started getting the data from April 1st to 2013, and it will fetch the data till 6th of December. That's how the YTD works. So not only here, wherever you see that parameter, right, the year end, I mean, previously also I mentioned, right, year end date parameter. So that wherever you pass the year end date parameter, you can pass it that parameter value in month and day format. So it will understand what is your year start date and year end date, and it will fetch the information. So that's about dates YTD function. Now moving on, so we'll work on these total aggregated to date functions: total MTD, total QTD, and total YTD. Now here what we'll do, first we'll try to execute this statement, because here I passed totally 6 days, sorry, 4 days. Now what will happen? Let me execute this today. Now you can see here, so the total MTD function is actually whatever the dates that you passed here, right? So 1st of December. For this date, the total MTD is, it's only 1 day transaction that we are covering. That's the reason total MTD is showing as same value of whatever you see under the internet sales. But QTD, what it will do, it will start summing up the values from 1st of October, because this December 1st falling under the fourth quarter, right? So fourth quarter starts at October 1st. So whatever the transaction, whatever the sales amount value you have from the October 1st, it will sum it up till December 1st, and it will show under the total QTD. Similarly, total YTD. Total YTD is nothing but it will take the sum of the value from 1st of January 2012 to 1st of December 2012, and it will sum it up under the total YTD. So similar case for the 2nd and 3rd and 4th December dates. This does the same thing. And if you want to see that what is the value at quarter level, right? Comparing with, you can execute this. Let me execute this value on the right side so that you can see here. Okay, so it's like a, trailing cumulative sum that I'm doing. So internet sales and the respective cumulative sum for the total QTD. It started from 1st of the October. Now if you scroll down, so by the time it reached 6th of December, 11,81140, that is your uh, you know okay, so yeah, that's your total QTD value. Now, okay, sorry, here this is the 1st of December we are referring, right? Not 6th of December. So 1086143 is your grand total till that quarter level. That's the value you can see on the left side. Similarly, if I copy the YTD, so the YTD also you can see here, execute this statement. Now it will start from January 1st, 2012 to, by the time you reach the cumulative sum 1st of December, it's a 52,310,11. So 52,310,11. So that's how these aggregated total MTD, total QTD, total YTD functions works. Okay, and so if you look at the top, so uh, for total YTD, total QTD, you don't have extra filters that you can add it. So you cannot, sorry, you can add the filter. So if you want your YTD and QTD and MTD value for the specific product or specific category, you can do that and fetch the information. So that's how this six function works in the DAX. Moving on, so the next one is the group 4, where it's start and end of the functions. Basically, these six functions, what it will do, it will fetch the what is the starting date and what is the ending date at month level and quarter level and year level. So it's a very handy to, fetch the information, what is the start and end date of particular uh, period. Okay, let's move on to the group 4. So this six function, as I mentioned, so it only is specific to the fetching the last and end of the date and starting of the date for the either month or quarter or year interval. So the syntax of these functions, you can see it's more or like the same. I think I covered only this. Let me add the syntax for these three also. I want to, you know, add it here. So here the function, the statement is same, straightforward. It will take the date as input even for start month, start of quarter, and for a year alone you will have extra filter called year and date. So again, I mentioned the previously, right? So you can define your own year by passing this parameter. This is the syntax. You cannot filter the data while fetching these dates. That's the reason there is a second parameter called filter. But if you go back to the group 3, you have the filter function where you can filter out the data at a different dimension level. Now let's get into the example. So start of month, you can see here I passed the December 6th as my specified date. Now if you look at start of the month, it will be 1st of December. So whatever the internet sales is available 1st of the December, it will fetch that information. Similarly, here okay, here also I think I just prepared the same query. It's a duplicated 31st. Okay, sorry, here it's not duplicated, it's end of the month. So here we fetch the start of the month for the specified date because it's a December, right? So it fetched the data for the 1st of December, but end of the month it fetches the information for 31st of the December because the 31st will be the end of the month, right? So that's the reason it fetches the 31st December transaction. Similar case for the quarter. So if I mention start of quarter, the specified date is belongs to the fourth quarter, which will start at 1st of October. And if you take it end of the quarter, which will be again 31st of the December. So that's how it fetch the data and their internet sales. Similarly, start of year, again, it's a January 1st, 2013. That will be your first of the, start of the year. And the end of the year will be 31st of your same year, December. So similarly, you have the year end parameter. Here you can pass it like I defined stating that here, so March is my I mentioned like March 3rd is the my end of the month. So now you can see what will happen. Starting will be 3rd of April will be your start of the year. And if I take it out and again here also it will fetch the end of the year will be, guess what? So you'll get the end of the year will be 3rd of the March. So that's how end of year, end of sorry, end of star, start of the star. When I say star means it can be month, quarter, or year. Even it is the same case for the end of star, which is month and quarter and year. So that's about these six function. It's a very helpful. Usually these functions most of the time we use to find out the inventory for particular distributor or particular partner in our scenario. So these are the very handy functions, the group 4. So now moving on. So the next one is the group 5. So group 5 functions are like you have first and last state of the function. So whatever the list of the dates that you pass it in your list, so it will bring the first state and last state from your set. And similar case for the first non-blank and last non-blank, which is nothing but the non-blank values. Sometimes there is a sales will be the blank, right? So those scenarios it will fetch the non-blank values first and last. But first non-blank and last non-blank, I don't have any scenario to reproduce it, but the statement I will show you, but I don't have any values with non-blank. So but yeah, in your scenario please check your non-blank values when using these two functions. Let's go into the details of this group 5 functions. You can see here, first state and last state, it will just take the dates as the input. So we need to pass the date column. That's how the syntax works with the first and last state. But when it comes to the first non-blank and last non-blank, it will take the two parameters as input. One is the column, definitely it will be your date column, and expression. Expression is nothing but, please remember, expression is nothing but your measure value. This measure value can be like a direct measure which is coming from the tabular cube, or you can calculate the measure based on multiple other measures. So the expression, that is the expression. But when you calculate with multiple measures, you can directly apply the product cost into your quantity. So you can do that directly under the expression. Now go ahead and see what how the first state works. So here I'm summarizing my internet sales where I'm passing the dates. 2nd of December, 4th of December, 6th of December as the input. Now you can see here under that the first state is what are the list of dates that I passed here, right? So don't get confused. The first state, when I say first state, it will take the list of the dates that the user is passed to the query. In this scenario, let's say you passed 100 dates. Out of the 100 dates, it will take the what is my first date. Or if you pass only the 10 dates, out of 10 dates, what is your first date? That date alone it will pick. So now here I passed the 3 dates. Out of these 3 dates, the first date is 2nd of December, and it fetches the internet sales for the first date. Last date also works the same. So it will take the last date from the list of the dates that we specified in the query. So now we can see here 3 dates I passed it here, right? Out of these 3 dates, what is my last date? It will be 6th of December. Now it will fetch the internet sales for my 6th of December. So that's how the last date works. Even the first non-blank, out of these list of dates, right? So in these 3 list of dates, if at all any, let's say you have only the sales is available 6th of the December, but 4th of December and 2nd of December you don't have a sales, which is the blank value is reported, right? Now if you pass this into your query and ask first non-blank value, then 6th will be your first non-blank value, because that's where you have a sales amount. But in our scenario I have the sales value for the second, which is reported as a 0. So that's the reason it fetches the first non-blank value as a 2nd of December. So 0 is nothing but, don't get confused, 0 is nothing but not non-blank. If you look at the inventory perspective, right? So you take the measure called the total products sold. So when it says 0, the partner is reported to the company stating that there are 0 products sold to that particular week. But if you don't mention anything, what will happen? It will filled up with null, I mean null or blank. So that means the partner didn't reported any sales or any inventory at all. Okay, when you don't report any inventory, it's null or blank. When he report inventory, is saying that okay, he didn't sold any products, the total sold products is 0. That's how you need to interpret. Okay, it depends on measure that you take it. So the sales amount is 0 is nothing but there is a lot of meaning on it. So when using this first non-blank and last non-blank value, please carefully understand and test your results. Okay, the meaning of these uh, functions will change based on your measure. So, but in our scenario, I don't have a non-blank value. That's the reason 2nd of December will is my first non-blank value. Similarly, the last non-blank value is, you will get it like 6th of December. That is my last non-blank value. So that's how the last and first non-blank value, as well as the first and last date of the functions works. This is about these group 5 4 functions. Now we'll move on to the group 6. So group 6, we have like next and previous function, so where you can fetch the next or previous interval. When I say interval, it can be day or month or quarter or year. So let's get into the examples of group 6 time intelligence functions. So group 6 functions are like more interesting functions, and definitely when you start using these six, how many we have, so these 8 functions, definitely it will bring smile into your face, because it's a pretty much easy to achieve your business case, right? So I'll tell you the example. Let's say you want to know how your customer is trending compared with last month and this month, right? So generally, if you get the delta between your last month value and current month value, then you will get the difference. I mean, you can see that whether the customer is uptrending or downtrending, right? So in such scenarios, these 8 functions are very handy. So they basically take the input as a one parameter. Just on it will take the dates. Based on the date, it will bring the what is your next day or next month or next quarter or next year or previous day, previous month, previous quarter, previous year information. It's a pretty straightforward. Let's get into the examples. So first we'll cover the next day and previous day, how this example works. So you can see here, I specified the date, which is 2nd of December, 3rd of December, and 4th of December. Now let's take the reference of 3rd of December, right? So 3rd of December is my current internet sales, which is 20711. What is my previous day sales, which is 11962? Here is the 11962. What is my next day sales value, which is 17348? That is my next day sales value. Now if I see, if I want to calculate the trend, taking the reference of current day, my trend, what is my trend compared to yesterday? You can see whether it's increased or decreased. Yeah, I can see here it's increased, right? And if you compare with the next day, then your 3rd of December trend is better than future date, right? So basically this is the way it will help you to capture your orders and shipments, whether the orders are compared with yesterday and today, the orders are increased or decreased. You can track that. Or you can shipments, whether the particular warehouse is ship the products today more compared with yesterday. You can do comparison. So such scenarios, these previous day and next day function, not only day, so the month and quarter and year function are very handy to solve your business case. Now you can see here, next one is the month level. Okay, so here I'm using the next month and previous month. By the way, so these functions will take the dates, but you need to use these functions along with your expression. That's the cashier. Okay, so now if you want to bring the sales amount for the previous day, you need to use it like this. So calculate, that is your calculation function, creating the measure group. So within that, I use the expression and then my previous day or next day function. That's how the usage works. Please remember that. Now, similar case for the month. So if I see here, current month, I have a taken, which is my November and December. So based on this November, you can see here, previous month value. Okay, here you need to compare, right? So now let me take these, you know, particular query to right side and execute so that we can compare the results. Now you can see here, my total November value is 537955. That's what you see, previous month value for this December. And similarly, um, if you take the reference, let's take the reference of November. November, what is my future month value? That is the next month value, which is December. December month value is 624502. That's what you see under the next month sales. And similarly, previous month value, you can see 535159, which is your October month sales value. That's the value it is showing. Now you can again do the delta between these 3 columns and do your business analysis. That's how the next month and previous month works. Similarly, quarter. So quarter also works in the same way. So here I just created normal query to show you and compare the results. executed the query. Now you can see take the reference of the second quarter. The second quarter, whatever you take the May. So May, what is my previous quarter value, which is the first quarter? The first quarter value is 13,75,841. That you what you see. And what is my next quarter, which is the third quarter sales? So third quarter sales that you can see 14,54,653 is your next quarter value. So that again, by using these three columns, you can do your own analysis. Now coming to the year, here also same. Here I use the next year and previous year along with the calculate function by using the expression. Now you can see here, let me go to here and then copy this statement on the right side. Oh, something opened. So now I execute this, my internet sales for 3 years. Now you can see the comparison. So 70,755,25, you can see right side, that is my previous year sales. And then next year sales is, which is 2013, 16351550. That is my next year value. So next year value or future year value, you can call it, no problem. That's how next year and previous year works. And again, additionally, we'll have extra filter, right, as always mentioned. So year and date, you can mention year and date. Based on the year and date, it will calculate what is my next year and previous year value. Now we can see here. So here I mentioned 31st December 2011. That is my next year. I just pass the date. It's not like this. So we can pass it like this also. Just date and month. The system will understand the time. I mean, the name itself is there, right? Intelligence, so it will understand and do the necessary operation. Now you can see here for this month, right? 2011, the previous years. So since I mentioned 31st, okay, that is your current year. 2011 is your current year. So your previous year is 2010, which is not there in query, but next year sales is 58 42485, which is 2012. So let me add 2010 here so that you can see 43421, that is the value of the previous year. So in here, instead of December, you can mention any year end parameter so that you will get the results based on your physical year. So that's how it works. Again, here I just put it like to calculate the total value. Yeah, the dates. So based on this interval, I'm just trying to compare it, but yeah, again, it's not required, it's matching. So that's about next year and previous year values, and that's all about this group 6, about 8 functions. So now moving on to the I think last group, which is the, like, you can call it like miscellaneous or other functions. These two functions are I mean, by using the previous 6 groups, you can achieve your desired information, but group 7, like parallel period, same period last year, it will be more easy than using the other group function whenever you have a scenario to fetch the any parallel information or last year information. So now let's go into the group 7 and see how those two function works. Parallel period is actually it will provide the either previous or future values based on your interval that we mentioned. So the syntax of the parallel period is it takes the dates as input and number of intervals, whether you want to go how far, whether it's a forward or backward direction, and the interval. Interval is nothing but whether you want to go back in month wise or quarter wise or day wise or year wise. You can mention it. Sorry, not day wise. It's a year, quarter and month wise that you can go back, or either direction, forward or backward direction. So that's how the parallel period works. So now let's see some example. Here I'm doing the parallel period at month level. So I pass the May. May is my specified value. So now if I say -1 of the parallel period month, so that's where it fetches the data for the April month. Similar scenario for the quarter level. So now here I mentioned again May, since I mentioned the May as the second quarter. So now I'm asking -1 and the quarter level, right? That will be, it will bring the sales information for entire Q1 level. You can see here all the information from January 1st to March 31st, 2012. So similarly, it works in the same way here. So since I mentioned 05 2012, so -1 means previous year, which is 2011, it will bring the 365 days information for 2011. So now you can put it like a plus instead of -1. You can mention 1. So then this time it will bring the data for 2013. So that's what, as I mentioned, so you can go in either direction, backward or forward, but it's a parallel period. So parallel period is nothing but either it can be same level last quarter, right? So the parallel period what we have in MDX, it works in the same way. Either we take the parallel month or parallel month is nothing but last year same month. Parallel quarter means last year same quarter. Sorry, not last year same quarter. It's a sorry, I take my statement back. So parallel period at month level means, so it will be like immediate your previous month. Parallel period quarter means your immediate previous quarter. Parallel year is nothing but your immediate previous year. So that's how it will interpret. Okay, so that's about parallel period. Now moving on to the same period last year. Same period last year in the sense, again, it's kind of especially this function will help you to calculate the like trending. So YOY trend, quarter level trend. So whatever the period that you pass it current year, right? So it will fetch the same information from the last year. So that you can see what is the trend compared with the last year same day, right? So that's how the same period last year works. Now you can syntax, you can see it will take only the date, one date, in the name itself last year, right? So the date, if you pass it one date for the current day, then it will go back to the last year and fetch the information for the same. So now you can see here internet sales for the current year and the last year value. So you have to use this last year period function along with calculate by using the expression the sales amount. Now you can see here, so 2012 1st of May is internet sales this much, and last year same time it's in 2073. There is the increase in the, sorry, there is a decrease in the internet sales. But when you move on to 2013, there is an increase in 2013 compared with 2012. So that's how we can interpret this function, right? So that's about these two function, parallel period and same period in last year. So with this, the group 7 is completed. I think we covered all the 7 groups with examples. I'll post these examples in the comment section. So that's about these time intelligence functions, and I'll see you in the next video with different topic. Thank you.